you remember the way to the Great Valley?
I guess so. But why do I have to know? You're gonna be with me.
I'll be with you. I hope you can't see me.
What do you mean if I can't see you? We can always see you.
Littlefoot, let your heart guide you. It whispers, so listen closely.
All right, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Kill of the Week. I am one of your hosts, Brandon, and sitting around me virtually, we have Rapid Fire, Chris, Liam, Josh, and Jill. So I'm going to let Jill take this one away because this was her pick for Kill of the Week. What are we watching? Why are we watching it? And all of that above.
We are watching the 1988 Land Before Time, and it's Littlefoot's mom's death because we might as well be sad.
Yeah. Who does anyone else have this as like a childhood fond memory? Yeah. Yeah. This is the Don Bluth classic with this one. So like if anyone's not familiar with Don Bluth, he pretty much animated your entire childhood. Everything from All Dogs Go to Heaven to was it Anastasia, Fievel movies, Fievel Goes West, American Tail. One of my underrated favorites, Titan AE, he did, which was such a classic. So just to kind of go down the line, Chris, do you remember your first time watching Land Before Time?
Well, first of all, don't forget Rock-a-Doodle-Doo. That was
Yes.
second of all, yes, I remember when I was a child watching this movie. We rented it from Suncoast Video. And I remember seeing the mom's death. I remember it hitting it hit emotionally, but I wasn't super upset about it. And I think I might get to that like when we start really like getting into the nitty-gritty of this particular kill. Well, death, it's more of a death than a kill. But yeah, I remember oddly enough it didn't upset me as much as I thought it would, like in retrospect. And I watched it again recently and yeah.
All right. How about you, Liam?
Yeah, it's hard to tell whether the death in Bambi or the death in this was the first cinematic death I had to deal with. But yeah, huge Land Before Time fan watch. We were discussing some of the movies that come after. I think I saw nearly all of them, but I probably saw this for the first time when I was like 5 or 6. This is a pretty early flick for me.
Josh?
So I remember definitely seeing this in my childhood, and it hit me quite hard because I was also a big fan of The Lion King, and parent deaths just hit me in a certain way, just because, especially because I always watched them with my parents. So I was like, no, every time, basically. A little dramatic I was.
All right, Jill.
Side note, we need to put Mufasa's death on the list.
Why do you want to hurt me?
Because you brought it up, because that's how we got here, is because what did we watch last week? We watched Troll 2 last week, but how did we land on Land Before Time? I forget what we were watching. Godzilla?
Godzilla, yeah.
When I brought up Land Before Time, I was like, how the hell did we get here to Land Before Time? I don't remember. Yes, and Mufasa, because we're all going to just cry our eyes out the whole time. I don't remember the first time I ever watched Land Before Time. It just always existed around me, and I was always obsessed with it. And it just was sad. I don't know. I remember everyone was obsessed with Bambi's mom dying, and I still don't know why, because Littlefoot's mom dying was so much sadder. So like, I don't really care about Bambi and their mom. It's just Littlefoot, and it happened so early, and it's so sad.
It's a very similar type of scene, you know, with like it's an inciting incident, like the parent dies and the child is on their own. Yeah.
I know it's a coming of age, but why? It's just sad.
Nature is the real monster.
My parents would, my mom wouldn't let me watch the Bambi's mom death scene. They would always cut the movie off before it would happen because they thought it would upset me. And then we watched Land Before Time, and wouldn't you know, it didn't upset me that much.
So I think we're learning that you're a serial killer. There's something wrong.
There's definitely something wrong. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of in the same boat. I didn't really.
You're not the best example of being like
No, because I mean, like,
well
yeah,
put together human.
Bambi's mom did nothing for me. Mufasa did nothing for me.
Oh my
Land Before Time, like, even as like a child, like
Shame.
it didn't.
my God.
It
So
didn't.
what gets you? What upsets you?
What? Yeah, that's the question.
Okay, Mighty Joe Young got me at the remake of Mighty Joe Young when he was in the amusement park and he fell. Like, that fucked me up. Like, I think it's because I saw that in the theater. Land Before Time, like, I don't remember when I first watched it. I was definitely young because we had it on VHS. So, like, I didn't grow up with, like, Disney movies, really. Like, we had Aladdin, and that was it. Like, we didn't watch Lion King or Little Mermaid or whatever. I just had Aladdin. But we had Don Bluth movies. Like, we had American Tail. We had Rock-a-Doodle-Doo was another one. Like, we had Land Before Time. Like, we watched a lot more of these films than we did Disney movies. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think his mom's death hit me later because then it's, like, realizing how impactful that was. Because I was more focused on not the mom dying, but what the mom left behind and, like, the idea of the tree star. And, like, that was, like, what I honed in on. I was like, no, don't, like, Sarah, don't you dare fucking touch that tree star. Like, don't do anything to the tree star. Leave the goddamn leaf alone. Like, I don't care that his mom died. I just wanted her, like, to keep the leaf. The trinket is what I held on to.
Well, I think what I realized today, what upset me more was not the scene of her dying, but was actually when later on when he sees his shadow and he thinks it's his mom and he runs to his shadow crying for his mom.
Yeah.
And then like runs to the wall and starts like licking the wall and thinking he's seeing his mom and she's not there. And I got real emotional because that was sad. Like he didn't understand that she's like not coming back. And they did have a little Mufasa moment. She was in the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a little Jurassic Park moment. Like there's a lot of things I took from this movie. I have to look up timelines to see who was inspired by who. But
well, this came out before all of them.
Okay, so then everything was inspired by this because they clearly had a shot that was put in Jurassic Park with the T-Rex, like literally like trying to chomp down on them was the same thing as them in the Jeep. And then there was also the clouds with Mufasa. So everything is inspired by Land Before Time.
There's never been a movie before Land Before Time.
No, they were like they were before the time. Like it's them.
Literally.
I think at the time when I watched it, I was pretty young. I mean, this was like 90, 91. It's like one of my earliest film memories. And I remember, I think I didn't quite grasp the concept of death at the time. Because I remember my grandfather died in 94. And that was like a couple years after I saw this movie, maybe 2 or 3 years. And, well, I didn't have a good understanding of time, but it felt like that long. And I remember just not being super upset by that. Being like, oh, yeah, he was really sick for a while, and now he's passed. We won't get to see him anymore. But it didn't. There's something about it that, like, the concept of it just did not hit me very well. And then the fact of the matter that, like, by the end of the movie, they reach the Great Valley, where doesn't he like meet? Doesn't Littlefoot meet his parents in the end? Like they're alive there for some reason.
I think it was like his
grandparents.
Oh, that's right.
So the grandparents got separated during the earthquakes and the shits. So they find, because that was the idea, was that they all find each other again at the Great Valley, which is probably really meaning like kind of like the show Dinosaurs. They're all probably dead. Like they all probably died, and this is the afterlife, and that's the whole thing. And they're walking to, walking
the great beyond.
They're walking to the. I mean, come on.
Never thought of that.
I think that,
if you weren't sad already, you're like, it's cool. Littlefoot's dead too, so it's fine. Come on, there's no food. They're starving. They're walking to like the great beyond. Where everyone.
So then are like the 12 sequels after all set in fucking Dinosaur Heaven?
I think in theory is that I think the mother knew that they were going to die, because when you hear the beginning, as she's explaining everything and explaining, like he keeps asking, have you ever been there before? And he keeps asking her questions about it, and she's just kind of like clearly making it up as she's going along. Like it's almost like telling a sick child that like They're going to a better place. Like, you know, you're all
You're
going
saying
to
Littlefoot had cancer, and they're just like talking about how great.
basically. I think that's the idea where they're just like, well, we're all going to die. It's like, you see the clip of like you get the star leaf, whatever, and then you see that the big like the pull-out shot is like there's no tree, there's nothing, and ever as far as you can see, there's no food, and then they're just supposed to keep going through the abyss to get to the great beyond. Like, I think they were dead the whole time.
If they can drag Lost
Bruce
out,
Willis is going to show up and say they were dead the whole time. What's that?
so if they can drag Lost out for 8 seasons, we can pretend dinosaurs are in heaven for 8 movies.
That's
I mean, at least like the dog. What was that one with the dogs go to
all
heaven?
dogs go to heaven.
Yeah, at least they said they were dead. Like, they didn't even hide it. They're just like, you're dead. That's it.
That was a fun movie.
You know, that was great. But like, they at least admitted it. With here, they're dragging it out. We need Bruce Willis to walk in and be like, they've been dead the whole time, and then walk out.
So I'm gonna put on my tinfoil conspiracy theory hat.
That's my conspiracy theory.
And talk more about that. This movie, if you want to overanalyze Land Before Time, what the movie is really about is about how minorities can all come together as one, and it's a movie about unity. Because how can we?
They were racist as shit.
They were racist as fuck in this movie. You know, we don't talk the long necks. Like, it was.
Yeah.
It's
the three horns are the three horns, and the long necks are the long necks.
Yeah,
they can only talk to each other.
Yeah, it was all divided by racism, and they were a herd that was all different species of dinosaurs, and they all worked together and became friends and broke the racial tension among dinosaurs.
In heaven.
In heaven, because there's no racism in heaven.
They all knew that the mom knew that the world was coming to an end. Like, it's pretty apparent that this place is like a dying place, you know.
Yeah.
And you just knowing that they're dinosaurs, like, that's the setup. Like, they're gonna die soon. You know what I mean? Like, something bad's gonna happen. And yeah, I don't know why that didn't upset me. Maybe because
It's like my whole childhood has been ripped away.
I think what does upset you? Because this is alarming.
well, that's upsetting. That is upsetting. I think at the time I didn't understand. It just didn't hit home. I really don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm insane. Maybe I'm some sort of
So
like.
when we watch Mike and me and the kid that's in a wheelchair get shot, you're gonna be like, good for him, he deserved it.
I cried at something at some point.
We're gonna find it eventually.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch all of Bicentennial Man until you cry.
I did
Oh,
not cry during Bicentennial Man.
Oh, I was 10 years old and I wept like a newborn babe watching Robin Williams die of old age.
No, didn't watch that.
It's been a long time.
I do actually. Like,
Yeah, it got me. That one, yeah,
What
that
was
one was
it?
fucked up. AI.
Oh my god.
But I was older at that point. You know what I mean? So I kind of understood, and I had experienced Lost before, so I kind of like it was more relatable. It wasn't just like this bizarre abstract concept that I just kind of heard from through a Don Bluth movie from Suncoast Video when I was like 4 years old. You know what I mean? So it kind of, I feel like if I had seen it later, you know, if I had been older when it came out, I think it might have hit me harder.
That's fair.
But
That's fair.
I have the understanding that the mom's dead and they're all going to die and the world is ending. You know what I mean? And they're trying to find this thing that's clearly a metaphorical, like utopia. But then they find it in the end, and it's like.
I think they found it in because they all died. I think that's them dying.
Yeah, they're
It's kind of
heaven.
like, well, like what was like dinosaurs when their final episode when like the ice age came and they acknowledged that they were gonna die. Like I think that's basically what it was.
They,
is they're
they
like
just wait. Yeah.
they're just like, yep, they're dead. Like but they're kids and they don't realize like they're dying, and they're just like going off on this adventure that never actually existed, and it's all in their heads. And they're all gonna die.
So Josh, you got something else that you want to talk about grief real quick before I move on?
There was one movie that I can think of that made me cry, but it's so random. And it was Marlon Wayne's basketball movie, The Sixth Man.
The Last Man,
Yeah,
or the Ninth Man.
the Sixth Man, yeah.
Yes. Oh my
You're in
fucking
the
god.
direction.
That was a Hollywood video rental for me.
Yes, I mean when his brother like died at the end, because me and my brother would always play ball, and I was like,
Oh, dude, he
damn,
died
like,
mid.
right on the court.
Right?
Yeah, mid dunk.
Shit.
Been having him the whole time in the last shot. He's like, no, just let it go. And I was like, damn.
Oh fuck, that's a good one.
I'm gonna have to watch that because the last Wayne's movie I watched was Major Pain, and that didn't make me cry.
It should have.
Oh my god.
Like the way they came together as a group to win that Army games.
Yeah.
Hit me right here.
I turned it off before the final games. I got bored. I did something else. I think I watched some Far Cry or some shit.
To move on to a little bit of like a technical aspect, unless Liam, you have anything to touch on grief before I move on.
No, but I'm excited to jump in on the technical because I think there's a lot of cool elements that specifically in animation wise really kind of sell this movie in this beginning.
Awesome. So I'm going to let you handle the animation tidbit because I want to go into a very specific writer that's on this film. And we've talked about him before on our other show that everyone should also watch. I'm talking to you listeners at home. We do a series also called Friday Night Watch-Alongs. And one of the writers on this movie, Stu Krieger or Krieger, however you pronounce it, was a writer of the movie that we watched on a Friday Night Watch-Along called Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century. He also was a writer on like a lot of different like Disney flicks. He did Phantom of the Megaplex. He did some Goosebumps episodes, Troll in Central Park. But what I wanted to hit on that he wrote, which I find is to show that this man has plenty of range, is that he wrote the Pauly Shore classic In the Army Now. And to think that the writer of In the Army Now was able to be one of, I believe it is 3 writers for Land Before Time is pretty impressive when you can have that much range of things.
I must concur with that.
But instead, I watched Major Pain because In the Army Now wasn't available.
Fair.
And one of my favorite movies as a kid.
But some of the other things too is like the cast is a great cast. You have the narrator who also plays like the elder dinosaur that gives Littlefoot advice, which is Pat Hingle, which everyone would remember him as Commissioner Gordon in the Batman films, as in like Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. He was in that, and we would be dishonoring a great voice if we didn't talk about Judith Barcy, who did the voice of Ducky, who unfortunately was, if I remember correctly, and I'm going to double check resources, she died right after Land Before Time came out because I believe her father murdered her. She was 10 years old, and she was killed by her father.
We always get her mixed up with the one from Poltergeist.
Yeah,
Poltergeist was sick.
She was sick, and she
was also the voice of the little girl in All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yep.
I believe
she was.
Yeah.
So R.I.P. to Judith Barcy, who basically gave me like an entire quote from my childhood, which was "Yup, yup, yup" for Ducky.
Yep.
Such a classic. I'm gonna let Liam take over for the animation side.
Yeah, I think what like really sells this scene and makes it impactful is like you have a sheer amount of like movement and chaos, and it sort of like boils over and then settles into like a very, very still scene. Going from like total lighting to that like, midnight sort of lighting. The rain isn't overwhelming, and it's kind of like a bit of a trope thing, but it like it just sells the scene, and the like ambient lightning strikes that sort of give it a soft glow throughout. and they really hang on the last moment that Littlefoot's with his mom. They sort of float there as they're pulling back from the shot, and it just like the extra moments are like devastating. The extra like flash of lightning where you get to see the two of them. Yeah, it was just like super effective, like even as a child, to kind of like have the heaviness of that moment sort of translate.
Yeah. It's also just like it's a well-paced scene, because if we want to go back to the comparison, like our comparison anyway, was that we were constantly comparison Littlefoot's mom to Bambi's mom, and which one really hit harder. And I will always say that Littlefoot's mom hit a little bit harder, because like similar to Bambi's mom, where she was protecting the kids, but Littlefoot's mom fucks up Sharptooth at the same time, and like that battle. So like that whole pacing of that scene, you got the dinosaur battle happening, you have the earthquake happening and the shift in climate, you have all the dinosaurs. Well, at the time you're only seeing Sarah being separated from her family, and you're seeing Littlefoot lose his mom. There's so much happening in this scene that is, which is great, because it is just a great encompassing of the idea of loss, all happening in like a 3-minute span, that you're getting loss from all different angles. And the way that they executed that, especially in animation form, just really, really fucking killed it, and goes back into the great animation and just how impactful all of that really was.
I think too, on those same lines, like the brevity of that scene and the lead up to that scene, like the very beginning. I mean, that was like what, like 5 minutes. Like, you don't get a lot of the mom. You get
Mm-mm.
enough, and that the final battle scene followed by that establishes, like, really like solidifies that character, And so when that death scene comes in, she doesn't say much, but it just hammers like like a jackhammer into the the canon of that whole series.
I feel like she didn't even like finish what she was trying to tell him, like the advice, right? Like she was gonna tell him to like remember something, and she
No, she
died.
told him. It was
Yeah.
all about like remembering and like keeping like it in his heart and everything else, because he's about to die too.
It's all
She
about
told
the
him,
heart.
you
Yeah.
know,
About the tree star.
No, it wasn't about the tree star. It was the idea of like first she gave literal directions on how to like get there, and then it was all about like keeping like she said something in the before beginning of it. She said something about, fuck, I have to look up the quote. It was like some things you see with your heart and some things you see with your eyes.
yeah.
Mm.
And like, so I think she was kind of reiterating that when she was dying. It was like keeping things in her heart because she's dead and he's about to be dead.
Mhm.
Also, like another like little fun
Chris
fact,
is dead inside, so it's fine.
little fun
Maybe
thing
that's why I
about.
feel nothing.
What'd you say, Josh?
Oh, yeah.
No, so maybe that's why I feel nothing. Like nowadays.
Yeah, we're all
in
dead
retrospect.
inside. Yeah, exactly.
Childhood trauma carries on. But the voice actress for Littlefoot's mom is Helen Shaver. She was from the Amityville Horror, and she was also the mom of Nancy in The Craft. So to imagine Littlefoot's mom, who is this sweet elder long neck, as this just kind of rednecky mom to a psychopathic witch, and The Craft also shows dynamic range, which is awesome.
The
Yeah.
90s were a time.
Her voice really carried that character. Like that her voice alone. I rewatching it today. I felt as though it was the perfect, like, motherly, like, reassuring voice. Like, like, that provide that hopefulness for the future.
Yeah.
Almost like in the same sense that of like it's like watching Mr. Rogers die, kind of. You know what I mean? But if you'd only
Oh yeah.
met Mr. Rogers like 2 minutes ago, that I think that's how it was for me. If that makes sense.
No, that does
Definitely.
make sense.
You didn't even have time to even get attached to it, really.
Yeah, yeah.
That makes sense.
Like I wasn't emotionally attached, but I understood why she was somebody who is worthy of that level of attachment.
Yeah, but like I said before, I think it wasn't about the scene of her. Really, like the scene of her dying is sad, but it's really for me when he sees the shadow and thinks that it's his mom is what got me more.
Mm.
And maybe that was just like because when I watched it, my dad was alive when I was a kid, and like now he's gone. I'm like, well, that sucks. Or that idea of like looking for something of like, you think that they're there and they're not. He got sad. And he like, couldn't comprehend that his mom wasn't there, that it was his shadow.
Mm.
So, because they're all dead.
Oh, dumb dinosaur.
It was sad. The little racist dinosaurs all died.
Well, not before overcoming their racism.
Did they find the racism in heaven or before that?
Before
How
that,
many
they
people did
overcame
this have?
prejudice toward each other and learned to work together.
Yeah, but I still think they were dead the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Here's a great little fun. Like I'm looking up like the facts right now just to kind of get more topics to talk about. One of the
Despite that they're racist and they're all dead.
No, one of the spoiler bits is like whether he knows it or not, Littlefoot avenges the death of his mother by defeating Sharptooth at the end of the movie.
Whether he knows it or not. Oh.
Okay, I gotta rewatch this.
I
even
love
again.
that. It was just so cute. I loved it.
Also funny too, because like apparently Pizza Hut did like it partnered with Pizza Hut at one point to where like when the video came out, you could buy the tape from Pizza Hut. I have a copy of Land Before Time on VHS because I'm an avid VHS collector. That was when McDonald's did the promo, and it's still in the shrink wrap with the I think at a flea market maybe
something.
And it still has the McDonald's like seal on it that you bought it from McDonald's, and it was like one of the old promo tapes from them, which was great. So I think during that promo it was like Land Before Time, maybe Home Alone was on there.
Yeah, that sounds right. 1990.
Yeah.
Home Alone 1 came out in 1990, so it might have been like 91.
Oh god, I'm trying to like find it because I'm really curious of like what else it was. So it looks like it was Land Before Time, Fievel Goes West, Back to the Future, and Field of Dreams.
Why do I vaguely remember Back to the Future?
As a movie or as being available from McDonald's?
Like from McDonald's, but it's like that was before my
because if you're not familiar with Back to the Future, we need to stop this right now.
No, I've seen all of them.
Like, oh my god.
No, she's not here to defend herself, but I'm not Carly.
The first McDonald's tie-in I remember was when Batman Returns came out. It was like 92, I think. And we got the glasses, the really nice like mugs.
That was Batman Forever.
No. There was a Batman Returns thing.
Did it really? Because I remember the mugs from Batman Forever.
And they like tied it in with like Happy Meals and shit. And then the movie came, and it wasn't a kids movie at all. And there was like that was like a scandal that I remember people being like, "Yo, you marketed this as a kids movie, and it's like not a kids movie. It's really bleak." Like,
I think McDonald's also did a tie-in for Inspector Gadget, the Matthew Broderick one, which I love, but in hindsight, maybe not a great movie.
It was each Happy Meal toy was a different part of him. So you would get like an arm or a chest or something, and then you put him together. I remember.
You had to eat McDonald's
the full thing.
However many body parts Matthew Broderick had.
I kept getting zest.
Yeah, I got that one a lot too.
Oh.
To go back to Land Before Time. So apparently, the scene where like that was like the shadow fight scene between his mom and Sharptooth was apparently actually animated to have the fight, but was taken out and changed to the shadow because it was deemed too scary. And in the original script, it didn't have that elder dinosaur, Old Rooter. They added him in to kind of like ease in the script because apparently a lot of this movie was deemed way too scary for kids, and they had to like go back in and reanimate some stuff and alter it to kind of make it a lot easier for kids to digest.
They kept the quicksand scene, which I feel like every child of the 90s is terrified of quicksand because it was such a plot device in like every other movie.
Really was.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was
So I'm looking. Yeah. I'm trying to look up like some random like facts about Land Before Time. Apparently, there were 13 direct-to-video sequels as well as a television series. 13.
I don't remember I do not remember the show. I know there was a shit ton of sequels.
Didn't realize there was 13 of them. There's no reason for that. And then one of the facts literally just says, like the top of it says, it was meant to be Bambi, but with dinosaurs. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, that's great.
I have to read what that says while we talk. But
So Land Before Time was Fast and Furious before Fast and Furious.
It's all about family, okay?
It is.
All right, we're gonna go around the room real quick, starting with Jill. Who was your favorite of the Land Before Time dinosaurs?
probably Ducky. They're just so fucking cute. They're just a little derpy. So cute.
Josh, how about you?
Not to copy, but mine was also Ducky because she had so much energy and was always, if I'm correct, she was also a bit of a smartass. I like that.
Yeah. Liam?
I was a Petrie fan. He's cool. Dude.
Same. Petrie was my favorite. How about you, Chris? Favorite dinosaur from Land Before Time?
Man, you know, probably the one that couldn't fly. What was
Petrie?
Petrie.
Yeah, all right. So we got 3
Pretty
Petries
easily
and 2
divided.
I
Duckies.
really felt for. I remember really feeling for Petrie when I was a kid.
See, for me, Petrie reminded me of Terry from Pee-wee's Playhouse. And I was just like, had a thing for pterodactyls from that. And when I was a kid, I used to say like I wanted to play Petrie, and my dad would put me like up on his shoulders. So like that's what I wanted to do because like since he couldn't fly, he would just like sit on top of Spike and just walk around.
I love that. But there was something so sweet of seeing like Littlefoot when he was hatched and he just like tumbles out of the egg upside down, and he was just so cute. They were all adorable.
And I think Ducky reminded me of one of my oldest friends, Monica at the time. We would always just be outside using our imaginations like the good old 90 days, making up games.
Back in our day. Yeah.
Kids don't go outside and hit each other with sticks anymore. That's what's wrong.
Yeah.
That's what's wrong with the world. Kids go
Seriously,
outside and
right?
hit each other.
You learn something when you get hit with a stick at a young age.
Yeah, you don't do it again.
We see what happens when you grow up without getting punched in the face. So
Yeah,
everybody
true.
needs it at some point.
Very, very true. Oh man.
I'm curious now. This is probably research to bring back at a later point. If there like were restrictions within the PG bracket about death and how like this movie fit in, because there are like a lot of stories similar to this where there are like children's movie that are deemed way too heavy to be in the PG bracket. So I'm curious what what was conceded to keep it PG and like what that looked like in the 90s as well.
Was this PG or was this rated G for the time?
Probably PG.
No, Land Before Time was rated G.
Oh. Huh.
And I wonder if a lot of that came in because like they altered a lot of scenes to, you know, make them not as scary. Like they used.
Well, it seems they took about 10 minutes of 10 minutes of film out of it by the end because they were just too dark.
Yeah.
The movie did seem kind of truncated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It does make sense though that they just like
Well, I mean, I feel like
chopped it off to fit it into G rating. You know, at the last minute.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like the movie Up was the first time we ever saw blood in an animated movie like that.
We saw it in a Disney movie. It was the first time they showed blood in a Disney like Pixar
Up-
movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Because
know you've seen
you'd
it.
have like if anyone's ever seen, which is something we can also talk about later, with like Watership Down had that in crazy brutal scene, and that was chock loaded with blood. Also, this film I think was like one of the highest rated animated, like a highest grossing animated films. The Land Before Time grossed $84.5 million worldwide, which is kind of insane for that time in the 80s for an animated film like that.
So what is that, like $800 trillion in 2025 dollars or something like that?
I think so, yeah.
Damn.
By the end of the theatrical run, it grossed $48.1 million at the U.S. box office alone.
Nice. Good job, Don.
That's definitely why so many films took it, like Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Classic.
It's a winning recipe.
I mean, it was kind of a perfect storm, right? Like, who amongst us was not a dinosaur kid? At least for like a year.
Yeah,
when we were,
definitely.
4 or 5.
Well, I mean, this came out in '88. I mean, I don't know. I was always obsessed with dinosaurs as a kid. And obviously this came out before Jurassic Park.
Well, when I was a kid, you know, like we all like grew up watching this, like all the tapes of this stuff from, and then Jurassic Park came out, and it was just, you know, I remember in like first grade and kindergarten just being like, yep, like that was like such a meme at the time.
Oh yeah.
And Jurassic Park was like the biggest hit, and again, my parents wouldn't let me watch Jurassic Park, but I remember meeting my dad for like dinner or something at the movie theater, where he just walked out of watching it for a second time, and he wouldn't talk about how cool it was. And I was like, dude, how you gonna, like, I'm never gonna be able to go and see this in a movie theater, you know, like, jerk.
Yeah.
So,
I'll post it if I can find it. There's a picture of like a 5-year-old me crawling out of a dinosaur egg. I think at Universal Studios they had the Jurassic Park stuff. It was definitely a whole family thing, but like it's crazy. You grow with this dinosaur stuff, and then we're playing Turok by the time we're 10.
Yeah.
Turok was my shit.
I have a photo I need to find, but I remember that I was wearing Barney slippers, a Minnie Mouse dress that you like took off the doll, and I was holding one of the posters for like We're Back, or what was that movie for the dinosaur?
Yeah,
like
We're Back. Yeah.
Back, and I can picture it. I'm standing in my sister's room, and I have the Barney slippers, the Minnie dress, the Minnie Mouse dress, and then I'm holding that. Like dinosaurs were my shit for as long as I could remember.
Yeah. Definitely from the late 80s to early 90s, dinosaurs were everywhere. And I think you mentioned like Barney as a dinosaur. Like Barney was a dinosaur. Obviously, you had the Dinosaurs TV show, Jurassic Park. Yeah, dinosaurs were fucking everywhere. Jesus.
And then we had the oatmeal that had the dinosaur eggs in it.
The dinosaur egg oatmeal.
Oh, yeah, those were good.
We still consistently buy dinosaur chicken nuggets because we're adults and we can do that.
Yeah.
Whenever we want.
They keep making them, keep buying them.
Yeah.
It's all the
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
The
Well, it's
dinosaur
the future though, because we have like dinosaur like vegan nuggets.
Yeah.
Which I feed to Molly.
The future is now.
Yeah. I remember buying the dinosaur oatmeal like as a kid just because I wanted to hatch the eggs. Like I could give a shit about oatmeal, but I wanted to hatch the eggs. And they had like plastic ones. You could like put the egg in the water, and then it like came with the
There
egg.
was
Weird
I only
shit.
got one of them because we were rather poor, so I didn't get stuff like this all the time. But they had the fossil kit where you had to extract the dinosaur bones out of this like composite block.
Oh, I never had that. That
Never
sounds
heard of that.
awesome.
I had that when I was a
That
kid. That was cool.
That Jersey thing, I never heard of that.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
It does.
You can only do it once though.
Yeah. I mean, you had a cool, like, articulated dinosaur skeleton when you were done, but yeah, you only got to extract it once.
There is the dinosaur museum that was just recently opened in like Jersey. So Liam, when you come home one day, we will all go to the dinosaur museum and go look at dinosaurs.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I love dinosaurs. I was convinced I was gonna be did we all convince we were gonna be archaeologists when we were kids? Because I was.
I
Like,
can
play in the
wanted
dirt
to be.
and play with dinosaurs. Like I was fucking done. That's all I wanted to do.
I convinced myself that I was going to be an archaeologist not because of dinosaurs, but because of the Mummy movies.
I figured that was like.
And I thought that was like the coolest thing. I'll have to like note to self insert photo. One of our good friends and former guest on the podcast, Joe Franz, did work on National Geographic.
You just go grab it.
Oh, you can grab it. Yeah, you're at home. Go grab it.
I think I should just do that.
I didn't even think about it, but he worked for National Geographic. He did a bunch of camera work for them, and on the spare time, he worked on like one of the dinosaur shows, like where they dug up bones, and they taught all the crew members like how to like properly dig up fossils and stuff. And he has like a woolly mammoth tusk at his house and all these things. But he gifted me last time we were at his house a chunk of what is it, Triceratops?
A Triceratops. So this is the vacuum bed. That's where it came from. It
was the head frill.
And then on the other side.
And he dug that up when he was out on one of the shows, and he gifted it to me. I was really stoked.
Cool.
Yeah, and then on the back it has like where it's a part of it was a part of his head. Is where the bone was from.
Yeah. So thank you, Joe, for that.
Thanks, Joe.
It's one of the coolest fucking things ever.
I really want to open it and touch it, but I won't.
I'll probably turn the dust.
I know. I want to
There's
touch
still,
it.
is
It's
there
just
any
like it's
kids
right
out
there, and I
there?
want to touch it. Huh?
To all you kids out there, if you still want to become archaeologists, it's not like they've discovered everything. They're making incredible discoveries all the time.
Yeah,
In fact,
one
just
day
a
we'll
year or two
be
ago-
bones in the dirt too.
Yeah. I mean, just a year or two ago, they figured out, I was reading, they figured out what time of year the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs hit, because they found fossilized pollen on insect fossils or something like that. So they knew it was like early spring, or like just like the end of winter going into spring. Like everything was kind of like, this was like everything was blooming and like things were starting to go out, and that's when it hit.
I can't
Dino
wait
DNA.
Amazing.
Kill of the Week episode 5000 where we cover the meteor hitting the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
That was a bad day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
legendary bad day.
Must have really sucked.
Grade A kill though. Grade A.
Oh yeah.
They also found, like, they dug up, like, there was a dinosaur that was by like an estuary in Mississippi Delta, which was much larger than, and it got caught in the tidal wave from the impact, and it was buried perfectly preserved. Like, so you could see, like, it was like a fossil of like the scales and everything.
God damn.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
All right. So as we kind of start to wind down, let's go around the room and get final thoughts on Land Before Time, Littlefoot's mom, and et cetera, starting with you, Chris.
Mm.
Yeah,
Well-
Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't quite feel it at the time because I was too young. This time, I felt it a little bit more. You know, now that I know that the movie used to be longer and had like it seems to have been cut down from chopped and cropped into a G rating. I would be interested to see more battle scenes. Like there may have been more to make the death of the mom hit harder home, because in my opinion, I don't think they did enough. Like, I got the message that yes, I should feel bad for this character, but I wasn't completely emotionally invested in the character because I just didn't have enough. But it was nevertheless like a beautiful scene that it got the ball rolling for a child that lost their innocence.
Oh yeah. Josh, how about you?
So after just rewatching that scene for the first time in easily 20 years, it still hits, and it's because it draws on so many other movies that had parent deaths during that time. And the fact that I always would watch them with my parents, it was like just seeing it, but just in cartoon version. I always had a vivid imagination. And I don't know why I would dive into it. So it was it was a reminder. And I didn't know they had 13 of them though. That blew my mind.
All right, Liam.
5 out of 5 true stars. Yeah, really influential early development movie for me. Like between that and like James and the Giant Peach, those are like the two standout movies of my childhood that just kind of show you right away that like life's gonna be fucking hard sometimes. But they do it in a way that is for me then and now seeing it, probably 25 years after, in a like tasteful, well animated, and hauntingly beautiful way.
Very, very well put. I think for me, this is a childhood favorite. I think I didn't like Chris. I didn't like feel bad about the mom or anything like that at the time. Looking back at it now, I see that it's very compelling. It's very, it's very story guiding, and definitely has, like what Chris said, a loss of innocence, and definitely helps craft a character that when they lose something and what they need to step up to be. And I think, like, if anything with this film, it shows that you can still step up even if you lost something, because like Littlefoot really took charge of getting everyone to the Great Valley and protecting that tree star. And like IMDb said, whether he knows it or not, he got his goddamn revenge and killed Sharptooth at the end of that movie. Yeah, this will always be a favorite of mine. I will always choose Don Bluth movies over Disney any day. They just had a lot more heart to them, a lot better animation. Like, you feel that animation. You felt that rain coming down on Littlefoot. You felt the earth below you shaking when continents are drifting apart in that movie. And yeah, definitely 10 out of 10 on that. We're going to end with Jill, considering this was her pick. So send us out.
I mean, I love it. It will forever be one of my favorite childhood movies. It's always made me sad to know Littlefoot's mom's death. It made me sadder watching it today. Just being, it's been many, many years since I've watched it, so it's always hard to watch. Especially now, losing my dad is just harder to go back to something from childhood and not have him. I think we need to find something that has Chris have some emotions and some heart to it, but I do understand where we didn't have a lot of time with his mom to be sad about it, and it just like it has a lot of character development, a lot of loss of innocence. It's a sad movie, but I love it. I'm thoroughly convinced they were all dead the whole time, but that's besides the point. So I don't know how they made 13 sequels when they died before the first one was over, but
Definitely one of Bluth's finest.
Yeah, I love it. There's a reason why it influenced so many other movies, and there's a reason why we all were obsessed with dinosaurs growing up. And I think it's because of movies like this. So.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Before we sign off, new thought just popped in my head with Jill saying. No. Does anyone think, like, you growing up with animated movies, you had, at least back in the 90s, I can't really speak on today, you had the cartoon movies that were very boy driven, you had the cartoon movies that were very girl driven. Do you think the idea of the impact, now Jill, you're kind of the minority in this group that we have right now of humans, that a little girl watching this movie would take the death of the mom more seriously than a little boy. Like, how, like, what do you guys all think about that?
I'm not totally convinced that Chris is a human, so we'll have to backpedal to the start of that question.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's like a lot of like, I think this movie, like, for most of us that saw it at a younger age, was kind of before like a question about your own gender and what that meant to the rest of the world, because like they sort of encapsulate different emotions and traits through all the characters, and less about their gender and more about how they act and how they overcome, like how each character kind of grows up. But I don't know, maybe Jill, you have a different perspective on this, but I think through and through, at seeing this at an age of 4 or 5, it's just about like a sheer emotional response.
No, yes, I'm not talking about the characters. I'm talking about the emotional
Specifically
impact.
The death.
Of a little girl watching a mom die versus a little boy watching a mom die, because I can only speak from my own experience. That I can say, just for example, Little Mermaid as a kid did nothing for me, whereas Aladdin was very impactful. Where you had the girl lead versus a boy lead, and with whatever you identify as at that, with what it is, where it connects to you, that I connected more with the Aladdin character and the gruffer side versus Ariel being, more lighthearted and more kind of like that. Whereas the idea of death would affect different people in different ways. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm trying.
Yeah.
Like, I can't.
So I think, yes, I know what you mean. So like basically, for me growing up, girls are traditionally given baby dolls and things, and we're meant to be nurturers and we're supposed to be the protectors. So I think even before I knew what was happening in the movie and understanding mom dying, like it was long before my father had died. So I didn't have the parental dying connection. It's the same thing with Mufasa, but the idea that we're supposed to protect this baby doll. We're supposed to be the protector of this thing. So this thing that you protect, or the thing that protects you, is then dead. So I guess there's something like internal that makes us sadder with that. That we're kind of raised to be more emotional and more connected to those motherly instincts, whether we're the one giving the nurturing or being nurtured. So I get that, but like I was always the weird one growing up of like, I didn't understand why I couldn't play firefighters with my best friends, and I couldn't, because I was told that if I was going to be a Power Ranger, I had to be the pink one. I'm like, I want to be the green one or nothing. And so it became, I was nothing, because I did not want to be the Pink Ranger. Just didn't give a shit about Kimberly. And that was just the household I was raised in, that when girls played with dolls, they did certain things. I wasn't supposed to dress up as a firefighter. I wasn't supposed to dress up as a little policeman. It was play with the dolls. So I don't know if there's something like whether we're in pet, like it's something, whether they're planning it or what they're doing, that they're realizing it. But like, yeah, I guess it's layers of, generations of telling women that you're supposed to be a mother and a caregiver. And whether I looked at it back, I was too little to have connected me being a mother, my child, watching me die or my child dying. But I guess there's something where you're raised to be nurturing, so you connect to the nurturing, whether it's whether you're giving it or receiving it in that sense. So when someone's dying in a movie, it's more emotional.
Okay.
Does
So
that
it does. So it's I guess for lack of a better term, the idea of like the conditioning style, that you're conditioned to be more sensitive, where a boy is not. And
also I loved Aladdin and I loved Ariel. Like I loved them all equally. Maybe I wasn't the norm, but like I loved all
that's
of them.
fine. I'm merely just asking this because like you were very impacted by the mom's death, Littlefoot's mom's dying, versus like Chris and I that weren't.
Well,
whether
human, we already know that.
Yeah, well, I'm saying like whether that's age related or whatever, it was just like something. I don't know. It was something I noticed as we were all talking.
I think when I watched it just something connected, but I don't know how to explain why it connected. It just was It was just somewhere internal.
That's fine. But I mean, like Josh had also affected. Hold on, Josh had also affected you too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, I know the reason, or I believe the reason that I was affected by it is because that seeing just a parent die and then looking literally to my left and right and seeing my parents. And then that imagination, because at that age they gave me everything. Like if I needed to eat, if I needed to sleep, whatever I needed, they were taking care of me. So if that happened, maybe I was just a self-aware 4-year-old that was like, if that happened to me, I would be dead. What can I do without them? And that's why it affected me, because I know that the loss of a parent means that I got to grow up really fast, and I wasn't prepared to do that. So yeah, if my parents weren't there with me as I was watching it, then honestly it might not have affected me as much.
Okay, fair. So maybe circumstantial. We can kind of come to a conclusion of.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it with me too. I think it also like kind of just like one, I didn't really quite grasp. Like I grasped the concept of death, but it didn't sink home for me at the time. But I think on the other end, the other thing too is that it's like loss has never really hit me as hard as some other things. Like I always lose it for scenes of what really gets me is like scenes of joy when I see people who are like really overcome by joy or they see something that's absolutely incredibly beautiful. Like the episode of The Simpsons where Maggie's first word where she pulls out the pacifier
Yeah.
every time just kills me. Stuff like that is when I think it's just like the way my mind is built, you know, like maybe I handle loss in a different way. And also too, I also know, like, I remember when I was growing up watching this movie, I had a hard time keeping track of the gender of the characters. I remember I would always like, oh, is Littlefoot a girl or a boy? Like I would always like lose track of that because the way the character was portrayed, I have a very high pitched voice. It could have been like I feel like the way the characters were drawn, they could have been any gender. You know what I mean?
They could have been very neutral, but if you look closely, the female dinosaurs have eyelashes, and that was usually the tell of who was a boy and who was a girl.
So does Littlefoot though, right?
No, Littlefoot's a boy. Or at least I took it as a boy.
I don't know. I remember that just always confused.
But it didn't matter, and that was the thing. Like we were kids, it didn't matter. That was also the whole point of Land Before Time, was like that. It was like overcoming racism and death and loss of innocence and all these things. Like we didn't have to, whether because they were dinosaurs and they weren't wearing clothes, but we didn't care if they were boys or girls. They were just working together and they were friends together, and that was part of it.
Yeah, I don't think I took any of them as boy or girl because I saw them as dinosaurs, and that didn't connect to me. The most that I took from it was, oh my god, the Triceratops is Sarah. I have a cousin named Sarah. Like that's what I was connecting, was I know a person with that same name. I don't know anyone named Petrie or Littlefoot, but I know someone named fucking Sarah, and that's what I was connecting. I never connected it as like boy, girl, or whatever. In terms of like gender of a dinosaur, I didn't think about that.
There's got to be one person in Kensington named Ducky.
You know what? I'm sure they're fucking.
That's not a part of your family.
And like at least one.
And
Definitely
Ducky
one.
got the good shit. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, you will go to the great beyond.
Yeah, my boy Ducky got the good shit.
Get off the Somerset S for Petrie.
Yeah. Oh god. Well, any final comments on that?
No.
Got the star leaf from my boy Ducky. Shit sent me to the great beyond.
And on that note, thank you everyone for joining us for this week's Kill of the Week. We will see you all again soon. Have a good one.